Hello everyone, in this module we are going to learn how to save and load data in NumPy. So in the following given table of content, first we will discuss what is CSV file, and then we will discuss how to read the data from files by using different functions, and later we will discuss how to write data in files by using different functions. So first we will discuss what is CSV file. So basically one of the difficult tasks is when working with data and loading data properly. The most common way the data is formatted in CSV. As we have mentioned earlier, NumPy is used for data scientists and machine learning engineers because they must work a lot of the data generally stored in CSV file. Now CSV is basically stands for comma separated values, and it is used for storing tabular data in a spreadsheet or database. Now here each of the file is called a record, and each record consists of files separated by commas, which are also known as delimiters. So each of the records of the text file is also a part of this file. Now these are the different ways for reading and writing to data files in NumPy. Now let us briefly understand about this function. So first is NumPy.load text function. So basically this function is available in NumPy package module, and it is used to load data from a text file. The function load text is primarily used for reading and writing arrays or matrices to the text file, and this function also saves a large number of data set. So following is the given syntax of NumPy.load text function. So within this function there are few parameters. Let us briefly understand about these parameters. The first one is fname. This parameter specifies the file name that must be read, and if the file is of .gs format, then first it will be decompressed. The next one parameter is dtype. It is an optional parameter and it specifies the data type of the resulting array, and by default it takes a float value, and every single row of this data would be considered a unique element for the resultant array. The next one is comments. It specifies with the hash character, and it is used to define the start of the comment, and if the value is none, then it implies no comment. The next one parameter is delimiter. It is used to separate the values, and by default it takes white space. The next one parameter is converters. This parameter indicates a dictionary to column value mapping, and by default it takes a none value. The next one parameter is skip rows. By default the value is 0 and it is used to skip the first rows. The next one parameter is use call. So basically it specifies the column which is used to be read from starting with 0 first. The next one parameter is unpack. It specifies the boolean value. Either it will be a true or false, and if the value is true, then it will return the transpose of the array. By default the value is false, and then the arrays are returned using a structured data type for each value. Then the next one is ndim. This parameter defines that it will get the minimum array element of dimension arrays, and by default the value set is 0. The next one is encoding. This parameter will help the user to decode the argument file. And then last one is max rows. By default it takes none value and does not apply to the input streams, and it is used to read all the lines, and it always returns the data read from the text file in the form of a n-dimensional array. Now let us take an example and understand the working of NumPy.load text function. So in this example, first I have imported the NumPy library with the elise name np, and then I have used np.load text, in which I have loaded the CSV file test.csv. Along with that I have mentioned the data type, that is int. So to get the output I have used the print statement and assigned the random values variable in it. So as you can see that after executing this code, data has been converted into a integer data type. So if you want to check my CSV file whether data is stored or not, you can see that my CSV file is this and the input integer data type is this. Now we will discuss how to save the array into a text. So for this we are going to use NumPy.saveText function. Basically this function is used to save the array into a text or CSV file, and to save a NumPy file to a text file we can easily use NumPy.saveText function. So basically it saves array numbers in CSV file format. So here is the syntax of numpy.saveText function, and within this function we are using a few parameters in our example. The first one parameter is fname. This parameter specifies the file name that must be read, and if the file is of GZ format, then first it will be decompressed. The next one is x. This parameter defines the array, and it can be a one-dimensional or two-dimensional array, and it is used to store data in a text file. The next parameter is fmt, that specifies the format. By default the value is %.18e, and it is used to define a sequence of patterns, and if the format is defined as single like %d, that specifies it is applicable to all the values. The next one is delimiter. It specifies the character separating columns. The next one parameter is new line. This parameter is used to separate characters, and by default it takes /n value. The next one parameter is header. This parameter specifies the string will be written at the starting of the file, and the footer parameter defines that the string can be written at the end of the file. The next one is comment. It specifies with a hash character, and it is used to define the start of the comment, and it will check the condition. If the value is none, then it implies no comments. The last one parameter is encoding. This parameter will help the user to decode the argument file. Now let us take an example to check how to save a CSV file in NumPy Python. So in this example, first we have imported the NumPy library, and then declare a variable name that is input array, and assign values in it. As you can see that I have assigned the integer values in it. Next we will try to print the values in a text file by using the numpy.saveText function to store the array of elements into a text file. And within this function I have mentioned the text file name, that is pythonguides.txt, and input arrays that I have taken as an input value. Next we have used the delimiter and format of the integer type. So after executing this code, the output comes in a text file that we have already taken in an input values. Now we will discuss our next function, that is numpy.save. So basically the NumPy module of Python provides a function called numpy.save to save an array into a binary file in .npy format. In many of the case we required data in binary format to manipulate it. For example, sometimes we have a lot of data in the NumPy arrays that we need to save efficiently, but which we only need to use in another Python program. So therefore we save the NumPy arrays into a native binary format that is efficient to both save and load. So here is the syntax of numpy.save function, and within this function the first one parameter is file. This parameter defines the file name in which the data will be saved. If this argument is an object of a file, the file name will be unchanged. The next one parameter is array. This parameter defines the input array that data to be saved. The next one is allow pickle. This parameter will help the user to allow the saving of objects into the pickle, and by default it takes the true value. The last one parameter is fix import. By default it takes the true value, and if the value is true, then the pickle does not map the new Python name. Now we will take an example and understand the working of numpy.save function. So in this example, first we have created a simple array by using the np.arrange function and save this array to .np file. For this we have used the np.save function and convert the file into a binary file with the names of Python guide. Next we load the data back into Python by using np.load, and within this parenthesis we have saved the Python guides.np.file. So after executing this code, the output comes here. First it displays the creation of input array and display the message array has been saved into a .npy file, and the resultant of array is this. Now we will discuss our next function, that is numpy.gen from text function. Basically this function is used to generate an array from a text file with missing values and different data types like float, string, object, etc. And this method is available in the NumPy package module, and it is used to read the file that contains data type into a array format. So again this function takes few parameters within this function. The first one is fname. This parameter indicates the file name where the file name extension will be gz or bz2, and the file is passing through the generate from text function. The next one parameter is dtype. It is used for the data type of the array, and if we mention the data type as none, then it will automatically produce data type depending on the values of that column. The next one parameter is comments. It specifies with the hash character, and it is used to define the start of the comment, and if the value is none, then it applies no comment. So the next one parameter is skip header. It is an optional parameter, and it represents that we must skip the number of lines from the start of the file. Now here is the example of numpy.gen from text function. So for this we have imported the string IO, that is input output module, and numpy library with the alias name np, and then we create a string by using the string IO method, and which is used to unicode of string in data. After that we have declared the variable that is new output and assign a numpy.gen from text function, and within this function we have passed the string and data type and delimiter as an argument. So after executing this code, the output comes this, that file data has been stored string values. Our last function is ndarray.toFile function. Basically this function is used to convert an array to a file object, and the file object specifies the items of the input array that are to be joined. So this function takes only one parameter that specifies the file object. Now we will take an example and check how we can convert an array to a file object. So in this example, first we have imported the OS module. After that we have imported the array module, and then we declared the input arrays with Unicode characters, and then we open the file object, that is file name with open, and within this parenthesis we have loaded the python guides.txt file for writing, and then we have appended the array to the file object by using array.toFile function. In this case random hyphen character is the ndarray object, and within this function we have assigned the file name. So after executing this code, it displays the creation of input array. Now check the text file that we have loaded. As you can see that the values has been displayed. So with this we have completed the working with file input output with Python NumPy.